My book is Hitched, The Modern Woman and Arranged Marriage. So it speaks about women in a very urban, westernized milieu in India. So it's a very small circle within India as a whole. And it's about women who are educated, who come from liberal families, but who have chosen to have arranged marriages. And I've spoken to women at various stages of their marriages. Some people who've just got married, some people who've been married for 10, 15 years, some unhappy ones. And it's sort of a pan-Indian perspective, so it's women from various religions and various states within India who have all chosen to have arranged marriages. It was actually an idea that my editor Meru Gokhale, editorial director of Vintage Books India, came up with. So she suggested that we do a book on arranged marriage within this very particular social milieu that I spoke about. And I was excited by the idea because at first, I was wondering how I was qualified to write a book on arranged marriage. But then I thought about it for about 5 minutes and I could think of 20 to 30 women whom I knew personally who have had arranged marriages. Some have been happy, some haven't. But these were choices they made, people who have had boyfriends before. And I was also curious about why someone would choose to have an arranged marriage which is seen as regressive. So I wanted to look at whether it really was regressive, whether it's a sort of, it's a last option, whether these people have tired of relationships or whether they've had some other societal pressure or parental pressure or some reason which has pushed them into arranged marriage, or whether they saw it as yet another way to meet somebody. So that was my motivating factor. I think there are various reasons. For one, in Indian society, across religions, across regions, I think people find it incumbent for the oldest to be married first. So it could be something as simple as your sibling has been dating somebody for 4 or 5 years, you haven't been dating anyone or you haven't met the right person, and then there's a lot of pressure. It could be the fact that a lot of your friends are married. It could be as simple as you don't want to spend the best years of your life single. So the reasons are very varied, but yes, I have been able to outline some of the broader reasons for people choosing to have arranged marriages. I think so. I wouldn't have written a book if I didn't feel that it was in some way something that people could relate to. And I've had a lot of feedback from people saying, yeah, I could relate to this person, or this is exactly my story. But I was very touched when during one of my book launches, somebody came up to me and said, oh, thank you for writing this book, because I got married when I was 22 and I've been spending the last 10 years trying to convince my friends that yes, I made a decision by myself. Yes, I'm happy in this marriage. I wasn't forced into it. I'm not any less modern than you are. So there's a constant need, I think, among urban women to justify why they have chosen to have arranged marriages. So I think a lot of people have come up and told me that this has helped them deal with it, and that's a lovely feeling as an author. I think so, and for me it has busted the myth for me myself, because I always saw love marriages as completely different, as a situation where you get to know the person well in advance. And when I spoke to a friend of mine who had been dating somebody for 3-4 years and then she got married to him, and she read my book and she said, oh, I could relate to all these women, because it's only when you start living with somebody, if you're in a live-in relationship, of course it's different. But then even when you've been dating someone, you've known him for 10 years, 15 years, she says it's only when you start sharing the same physical space, the same house, that you find out how different you are and what clashes there can be and what adjustments you have to make. So yes, it's busted that myth for me, and I think for several people. Right, no, I wouldn't say that I'm in a place to give advice to anybody, because I think in the end, all that matters is that this is a decision you arrive at by yourself, that no one forces you into it, and you go in with your eyes open. So if you decide that you will not have an arranged marriage, it doesn't matter if you never get married, but you will wait until your knight arrives on a white horse or a black Audi or whatever it is. Or if you decide that, yeah, I will go in for an arranged marriage, I will see what happens, I will go in with an open mind. If it doesn't work out, I'm okay with coming out. Or if it doesn't work out, I will stick in it because this is what I want to do. As long as you know what you want, I think you're fine. I think the main thing is, a lot of people ask me whether this is something that the West should start looking at as well, arranged marriages as a way of meeting people. For me, I think the way that we look at arranged marriage, the criteria that we look at need to change. For instance, caste is a very important criterion now. Education is a very important criterion, and I think we need to move beyond that, you know, because caste doesn't circumscribe our way of living anymore. Like, you could be Muslim and you could be vegetarian, you could be Brahmin and you could be a beef eater. So I don't think it describes, it sort of prescribes your way of living. So I think that's something we need to move beyond. And I think maybe the pressure of marriage needs to be taken away from this setting people up, you know, like, why not just set people up on a blind date, see how well they get along and how long they want to give this a shot. So I think maybe moving towards dating websites would be a good idea for the Indian arranged marriage circuit to progress towards.